Hello, friends. If you have never seen my face before, hi, my name is Gabby, and if you have, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing my October TBR, and I'm really excited. If you have watched some of my other videos, specifically my Ultimate Cozy Reading vlog, some of these books I hauled in that video, so you'll be seeing them again. But we have quite a few books. Let's see, there's 12 possibly books on my TBR this month, which is that's actually a lot more than what I usually put on my TBR. I try to stick to only having like 5 or 6 to keep it realistic so I'm not overwhelmed by the amount on my TBR. But this month I am actually getting my wisdom teeth out and also going on vacation. So I try to bulk up my TBR to account for that. So hopefully I'll be able to get through a few more books. Before we begin, I wanted to show you guys how cute my mug is. It's Snoopy and it says trick or treat for the Halloween vibes. And then I don't know if you can tell, my coffee's gone now, but there's a Snoopy on the inside also, and I thought it was so cute. I also have my apple picking candle going. It tunneled, so if anybody has any recommendations on how to fix that, let me know. Or if I just need to like chop out all the wax and figure that out, I don't know. Let me know. But I have all my books on the TBR here. I also have my iPad, so if you see me looking down, that's what that is because I have all my notes. Because I actually took notes this time instead of just, you know, guessing what all the plots of these books are. I looked it up this time. So let's get started. The first book on this month's TBR is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. According to the back of this book, this is the world's best-selling mystery. And essentially what happens is that 10 strangers are invited to this island by some random man, and they are all dying one by one. So they essentially have to figure out who the killer is before they all die. Based on this, I think this is the book that the guest list was trying to be. So we'll see how it goes. It is a little bit over 200, I think it's almost 300 pages. Yeah, almost 300 pages. And this book says Agatha Christie is the queen of mystery. So we'll see. I'm really excited to read this one. Next, we have Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. Previously this year, I read The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, and this is actually the book where the main character of that book, Robert Langdon, first appears. This is his first adventure. And essentially, what happens is that Robert is a Harvard symbologist, which means that he can decode like symbols and things like that. And in this book, he is summoned to a Swiss research facility to examine a symbol and essentially discovers that the Illuminati is trying to blow up the Catholic Church. So he's saving the Vatican from the Illuminati. So that'll be fun. But what I really liked about Da Vinci Code was that Dan Brown in that book actually references like art history and real paintings and things like that. So I would assume the same is true with this, where he references real cults, or allegedly real cults, and historical events. So it makes it really engaging to read because you know all these things happened. And if you are like me, where you need to know immediately where something is from, you can look it up and it's like you can get the real information on it, which is really cool. So, Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. Then we have Hannibal by Thomas Harris. Now, while I was looking up the synopsis for this book, I actually realized or learned that this is the second book in a series. The first is The Silence of the Lambs, and both of these books have associated movies that are also should be watched in that order. So I actually need to go and get Silence of the Lambs because that is where the main antagonist first appears, Hannibal Lecter, and also our protagonist, who's an FBI agent with a name that I can't remember. So I will have to get Silence of the Lambs first. But this book, Hannibal, is about Hannibal, who has escaped from prison again, I believe, or maybe is no longer imprisoned. I'm not quite sure. But one of his victims from the previous novel is seeking revenge. So it goes through that. So I'll have to go get Silence of the Lambs, and then I'll be able to read this. This is my like spookiest book of the month, essentially like my horror read. Because from what I understand, he's a crazy criminal who is unaliving left and right. So we'll see how this goes. Even if I get nightmares, I'll keep you all updated. Next is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. This is a novella by Stephen King, and this is also about an escaped convict. So I guess I'm just in my convict era. But allegedly, this person was wrongfully imprisoned. So when they get out, they're trying to exact their revenge. So we'll see how that goes. This is Stephen King. I've read a Stephen King book before, but it was nonfiction. I read On Writing by him, and I loved his writing style. I also listened to that one on audiobook, and I believe he voices in his own audiobook. So if you are interested in writing and the writing process, I definitely recommend checking that one out. But this is a novella, so I thought it'd be really simple, really easy to get through, and maybe help me dip my toe into some of his spookier writing for October. Then we have The Good Shepherd by C.S. Forester. This, and again, is another one of those books that I paused in my previous video, but this is about a Navy ship. This is during World War II, so an American naval ship is trying to get to England to supply aid. But in order to get from North America to England, you have to cross the ocean. And there are a bunch of German submarines that they have to like evade essentially. So it goes through that and how he leads them to that. This also has a movie that's called Greyhound. So it's not by the same name, but it is adapted from this novel. So that makes, I think, three books that have movies. So maybe I'll get to have like a movie marathon as well with these. So that should be fun. Then the last one on my physical TBR is Dry by, oops, it's upside down. Dry by Shusterman and Shusterman. This is a dystopian commentary on climate change. So essentially, California is going through the worst drought they've ever seen. Which this is published. I don't know when this is published. Let's see. This was published in 2018. So this is before the actual drought in California that was super terrible a few years ago. But there's a terrible drought in California, and so this teen has to essentially make life and death choices so that he can help his family survive. So this one should be interesting and a lighter read. I don't know why I picked this one. Maybe just because the spine made me feel like I should read it. I don't remember, but I'm excited. Then, on Kindle Unlimited, I also want to read The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This book has been all across BookTube, all across Book Talk, Bookstagram as a really great thriller mystery book. So this is the synopsis I wrote down based on the Barnes & Noble synopsis, the Kindle Unlimited synopsis, and the internet as a whole. The housemaid gets dumped on by her host family constantly, which means that they treat her like shiz. She begins to fantasize about living her employer's life. Somehow the wife finds out. I think one of the synopses I read said that she gets caught trying on the wife's clothes or something. And I guess the wife is nuts. The housemaid realizes that her door only locks from the outside, which is a problem, but not that big of a problem because she has a secret past life. She has a secret past life though, so she could F him up. Maybe she's nuts. I don't know. And it's a psychological thriller. So I've heard that Freida McFadden is an amazing thriller author, so we'll see how it goes. And that one's on Kindle Unlimited. Then, in the audiobook category, I am finally trying to get through Persuasion by Jane Austen. I saw that Spotify has the audiobook, so I'm going to try and listen to it because, as you all know, I have attempted many a time to read this book, and I keep falling asleep because the context in the beginning is just so boring to me. So I'm hoping with an audiobook I'll be able to stay a little bit more engaged, and I do have a physical copy, so I should be able to flip through and read as I listen. But in Persuasion by Jane Austen, it is a second chance romance. So our FMC was essentially persuaded out of marrying this man, and he ends up going away to, I think, the Navy, and comes back. So when he comes back, it's like, so are we gonna fall in love or what? So I saw the movie. Not my favorite. I thought it was a little bit too modern for a Jane Austen adaptation, but that's neither here nor there. the next audiobook I want to listen to as well is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I was supposed to read The Hobbit in high school. I don't remember. I think it was one of those things where I was supposed to read it, but it was so long and kind of boring because we would popcorn read it in class that I would just go on SparkNotes and read the chapter synopses, the chapter summaries for class so that I could take the test. Sorry. There's like a million books. I mean, a million books. There's like a million movies about this series, the Lord of the Rings series. So I want to dip my toe into that. Again, I found the audiobook on Spotify. Somebody posted it on there. I don't have the physical copy of this book, so I think listening will just be fine. I'll just, instead of listening to a podcast, I'll just listen to the book. But what happens in that book is that Bilbo Baggins, who's our main character, is persuaded to join, from my notes, quote, a little group of dudes looking for treasure that's protected by a dragon. So it's a fantasy. So we'll see how that goes. And then books that I want to buy, I don't know if I'll be able to buy them this month, but if I did convince myself to go to Barnes and spend money, these are the two books I would buy. The first is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Again, I've seen this all over BookTube and Book Talk. The book girlies are loving it. It is a fantasy romance, and it is forbidden romance. Who doesn't love a forbidden romance? Essentially, what my notes say is that an ordinary girl is pretending to be elite, and in this context, elite means that you have powers of some kind. One day she saves a prince. I don't know how this transitions into the next portion of the book, but she gets thrown into the trials, which is like for elites to prove their power. I'm imagining some sort of Hunger Games situation. I don't know how that connects to her saving the prince's life or how this works in their world. We'll see, maybe. And so she gets thrown into the trials, but obviously she doesn't have any powers because she's just been faking the whole time. So she has to try and stay alive. Will she die? I've heard that it's a really good romance book, so we'll see, hopefully. And then the last one is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a series I'm only interested in the first book for now, just because I don't know if I'm going to like the series or not. Again, widely talked about on BookTube, Book Talk, Bookstagram. I've heard it's amazing, so hopefully it is. Hopefully I'll go buy it and we'll see. But essentially, what this book is about, it is the FBI recruits teens with special skills to help them solve cold cases. I don't know. I don't know anything else other than that, but apparently it's very good. So we'll see. So that wraps up the October TBR. And that's literally all I have for y'all. This is a very quick, simple, easy video. I'm really excited to read in October. I'm gonna have a lot of time to read. I've been in such a reading slump, so I'm hoping that this will take me out of it because it's themed, it's spooky, it's gonna be fun. And yeah, I just love October. It's my favorite month because Halloween is my favorite holiday. So yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna be a really good time. But I guess you guys will see by the end of the month whether or not it was a good time. But yeah, if you've read any of these books, please comment down below and let me know what you thought. If you have any suggestions for me to add to my October TBR, especially if it's on Kindle Unlimited, please, 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 please let me know. And yeah, that's all. As per usual, subscribe, like, comment, follow me on Instagram at Books with Bloom. I have over there my fall bingo board, so I created a little bingo card so that you can read along with me. It has different categories for things that I find are fall, and I'm doing that from September to November. So that'll be a lot of fun, and definitely tag me if you repost that or use it. And yeah, that's all from me. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.